a team of passionate people is the most important thing. And your relationships with people, again, I think are so important.
Hi, my name is Carmen Bertelsen. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Marketing Strategy Director for Europe, Middle East, and Africa at FUGA, a downtown music company.
Hi, I'm Nina Nesbitt, and I'm an artist slash songwriter from Scotland.
Nina, what's it been like, being an artist, but also starting your own label? Why did you start your own label in the first place? And what's it been like for you?
I just felt like I didn't have enough on my plate. Do you know what I mean?
Not busy enough.
Not busy at all. Um, I It's something that I've wanted to do for a while. And I feel like I have been on quite uh, an up and down journey of labels in my time. I signed to a major label when I was 18, and then I had an experience with an indie label, Cooking Vinyl, for quite a few years, in my like early to mid 20s, which was great. And yeah, like I've kind of seen how different labels work. I've had like great moments on labels. I've had not so great moments. I've been shelved, I've been dropped, I've been signed again. I've kind of gone through like sales era and then the streaming era, um, and then the whole TikTok thing. Um, and something I've kind of learned is that everything's so fast changing, like it's ever changing, and nobody really knows what they're doing at any time. We're all just really using our knowledge that we have and um, really just hoping for the best. And I think something I've learned throughout the whole decade of these experiences is just a team of passionate people is the most important thing. And your relationships with people, again, I think are so important. And I was really surprised when I left the major label. I was what? And I was signed to the indie, just how supportive people were, whether it be journalists or people at Spotify, people at Apple, YouTube. They really just wanted to help and support an artist kind of being indie. And then obviously had an amazing experience with Cooking Vinyl. My time came to an end there, and I was like, there's just not another label I'd want to be with. And I kind of seen the shift over the last few years with them, how much work my manager Vicky was doing, and obviously myself. Not to discredit anyone at that label because they work their arses off as well. But I think the role of the manager is so different now. And me and Vicky have worked together since I was 17. I'm now 31. And it's just, yeah, I just trust her 110%. She's so loyal. She's like stuck by me through everything. And she possesses a lot of the skills that I don't. And I just thought it could be a really good combination to start something together. And yeah, I think like all the Spotify stuff literally happened because Vicky walked into that office and was like, playlist, Nina, please. Um, yeah, Vicky's just got a way of like, I don't know, just making stuff happen. And she's just, if you've met Vicky, you know, she's like such a laugh and everyone just, yeah, everyone loves hanging out with her. And she just makes it so fun. And I was like, let's start a label. Let's just do this. And also, yeah, I think you can't buy passion. Like I've seen a lot of artists that maybe have the funding, and they think they can just sort of buy their way into the industry. And really, I think you only get so far without passionate people. So for me, it was like, we've never done this before, but we're gonna give it a good go. Yeah, I just think for me as well, like seeing Vicky hopefully compensated for the work that she does. A manager these days, sorry if you can hear my dogs, a manager is like the last one to get paid. And I just think it just feels like a fairer way of doing it. And yeah, it just gives us creative freedom, freedom with releases. I feel like I had to wait so long to plan a release and like work around other artists' schedules on the label with like the major label, for example, or just like wait for everyone to approve it. Whereas this is like we could just upload it tomorrow, and that feels exciting.
Mhm. So So it's been more about sort of, yeah, creative freedom for you, but also ownership over like the decision making around like when you release your music, what you release, maybe a little bit as well, what genre you want to pick if you're changing.
Yeah.
But then also really about building a team around you that you trust, and that is going to be passionate about your music,
Hmm.
um, or anything that you put out as well, but also yeah, just working with your manager, Vicky Dowdle, a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Um, but this kind of brings me onto my another question. Um, let's rewind a little bit. How
Hmm.
do you actually start a label? Let's start with what the name of your label is, where it
Yeah.
came from, and then how do you pick the people that you're sort of putting around you at that label? So you mentioned obviously, relationships have been really important and picking passionate people, but like, who are those people that you've chosen to kind of surround yourself with outside
Mhm.
of your manager, Vicky Dowdle?
So the label's called Apple Tree Records, which is named after my first EP that I released called the Apple Tree EP. And it's basically just like a kind of homage to independence because I put that EP out independently in 2012. And that's kind of what got me in the iTunes charts at the time, which was like all the craze. And it got me like Record of the Week on Radio 1, which was a really big deal. And it just started a lot of things for me. And I remember just being so proud of me and Vicky that we'd done it independently. And it just opened up so many doors. And it just felt like the right name for the label because I want that kind of ethos in the label of like independence, artists just hopefully writing great songs, really celebrating storytelling and lyrics. And yeah, it just felt like a nice moment. I honestly had no idea how to start a record label. I normally just stick to the creative stuff, to be honest, and Vicky does all that. But I felt like I was doing so much of like the marketing essentially with TikTok and all that. And yeah, we just thought now's the right time, let's do it. And I was like to Vicky, how on earth, like, do we just, I don't know, do, do we just say we've started
Register
a
the
label?
business?
Like, is there an upload feature on Spotify or Apple? Um, and then she was like, okay, so yeah, like I was like, who pays for it? Do we have to pay for it? So yeah, she was like, okay, we'll get a distribution company and services and some funding. So that was all new to me. And yeah, and we found Fuga, who have been amazing. And I was really surprised, like I didn't know if it was just going to be some funding and a distribution service, or like I didn't know what that was, what that service would be. And it really does feel more like a label than I thought it did because we have like marketing and digital and socials. Like we do have help with all of that, which is amazing. And that's something that we opted into. And yeah, it's kind of like if you're building your own burrito, I guess. You pick all the things you want and you leave out all the things you don't want. So yeah, I think it's been great. So yeah, we got the distribution company. We opted in for socials and all that because I think that's such a big part of it now. And I feel like if I was on my own, I just would have been totally overwhelmed by that. So yeah, did that. And then obviously we started the company. And something that's different about this is I didn't sign with Fuga as an artist. Like we signed as a record label. And I feel like I'm in a position to do that now because I've had like past success and I was able to not like rely on an advance. So that is something I would say for artists, but obviously I guess you can like do whatever you want. But yeah, for me it was like very much like this is a long-term goal, to have the label and keep building on that. I think the hardest thing was knowing who and what to hire. And I think I've learned loads on this last campaign. I think it's such a big question now with loads of artists and labels that I speak to of do we really need as much as we used to? But obviously, you have people that do a great job and you want to work with and who are passionate. And yeah, it was just great to pick our own team and have people that were really passionate.
Mhm. And just to go back to, so you mentioned when you signed to Fuga, you signed as a label, not
Yes.
an artist. I'm just thinking about some of the points that you've just mentioned. So what that has meant for you is you had to kind of take the reins a little bit more in terms of some of the decision making
Yeah.
on like what you actually need in terms of like promotional aspects of music, radio, PR, etc. So you've, I guess, become more involved in like the business decision making,
Yeah.
which is maybe both empowering and maybe slightly daunting, but
Yeah.
it's given you the ability to kind of research a little bit and try out like a few different
Hmm.
things. Um, and then you mentioned about, yeah, finding the right partner. It is hard if you're an artist starting your own label or anyone starting your own label to kind of realize what the options are and all of the different layers. I like the burrito reference.
Don't know where that came from.
Um, but if we think a little bit more on the label side of things, what were some of maybe the more smaller sort of crucial details that you didn't realize that you would have to do, like outside of the big decision making things, like what are some of the smaller things that you were like, oh, we've now got to do this as well. And what were some
Um,
of the things that you managed to sort of, yeah, share with us at Fuga?
Uploading the songs was, yeah, I mean, I haven't done that, but a couple of different people did that. And I think I don't know, I can't like fully say how difficult it was, but because my album had segues between each song, they had to be like cut perfectly and then uploaded. Like it was apparently a very, very stressful job. Um, but it all worked out and everything sounded smooth when it came out. But stuff like that, or like making the smart links for release, going into Spotify and Apple and YouTube and all that. Um, like I think before on the indie label I did go in, but I feel like someone would be leading it. And then on this time, I kind of just went in with like my little PowerPoint and I was like, hi. So that was kind of nerve-wracking. But also great because I feel like there's no better person to kind of promote your music than yourself as the artist. So it was really nice to be able to do that. I guess being on a label before, there's a lot of things I probably wasn't even aware of that were happening. Whereas with this being the label, having to like make all the decisions and knowing if it is right to run ads or if it's not right. I don't know. I'm very much like a just let it happen organically person. But yeah, I had like a lot of people advising and helping, and people that have worked at labels for loads of years, and they were like, everyone's running ads, like even if they're dark, like you need to be running them.
Yeah, you had a lot of involvement in this, which not every artist, or not every campaign I've worked on, like the artist is so involved. But because it is your label, um, yeah, it's given you, I guess, a bit more empowerment. And it was nice. It was nice to have you so involved in all of the decision making. But with that, I guess, with having so much on, you know, going through the recording process and writing process, mastering everything, focusing on social media, focusing on running your label, making sure everything was, done right with teams, doing what they need to. That can be, it sounds like it can be quite overwhelming. And I know you said earlier you didn't have enough work. Um, but how do you protect your creative aspects, your creativity, but also your well-being, but also running a label? And how do you safeguard yourself from burnout? Because it is a lot. And how do you sort of the sort of balance everything between being an artist and a label owner?
Uh, I haven't. I remember, I just remember making a commitment to myself just before we dropped the first single of like, I am gonna work every single day, like every hour of the day to make this a success. And like, I'm gonna post every day. I'm gonna think of ideas. I'm gonna be writing a deluxe album. Like I just committed to myself, like I'm gonna burn myself out and I don't even care. Like I'm just gonna go for it because this is like such a good opportunity and I really feel like I've got something to prove. So I went totally over the top. Um, but that's just me as a person. Like I'm very once I focus on something, that's it. Like it's just absolute like tunnel vision. And then like a few weeks before the album, I remember it all just hitting me. Total burnout. Like I actually couldn't get out of bed. I felt really anxious. Like I was having emotional breakdowns. I remember going to the BBC Homecoming Olympic show and I was with Jazz, one of my day-to-day managers. I was just sat and I was like, I can't do it. Like I cannot leave. I cannot leave this hotel. I cannot leave. And she was like, come on, you can do it. Like we're almost there. And I'm so lucky that I had like Jazz and Vicky and all you guys to just keep me going. But I it's weird because in the beginning I was like, I'm just gonna do my best and I just want to put this album out and I'm really proud of it. But then as it got closer, I feel like there was mentions of like going for a chart position or I don't know, just things like that. And I think on TikTok as well, everything's so unpredictable and it's every day I kind of thought to myself, today could be the day that something connects. You never know. So it's kind of just I don't know, I'm very much an optimist and I was like, oh, I've put in so much work now. Like I would love for this to really like get out there and reach loads of people. So I think I was putting crazy pressure on myself and doing way too much. But I think I learned so much from that and I think so many things were just getting to me that wouldn't normally get to me. Like when we were running all the ads and I was like in front of a lot of people, it was just as an artist, just like I just couldn't cope with it. Like people sending hate comments, or I was just like, oh my God, I feel like I'm back in school. Like this is, I'm like so sensitive. And normally I'd just be like, oh, whatever. Um, but I think you can just get like so in your head about it. And I was having to think as a label, like get this in front of as many people as possible leading up to the release, like the album release. But then as an artist, like, oh my God, I don't want people to see me.
It's definitely something that I'll think about a lot more as well. I think after having this conversation, like because we do work with quite a few artists that have started their own labels.
Hmm.
And I don't think I really stopped to think about how much work it is and how hard it is to split yourself between being the artist needing to put the music out, but also having, you being an introvert, um, but then feeling the pressure of, well, no,
Mm.
this is now, it's all on me.
Yeah, it's that kind of like really tricky balance. But I think next time I would really have to just detach myself a bit more from it. and really just see it as like, I don't know, it's really hard when it's you, and when you care so much about something. So yeah, I don't know, I haven't really figured that out yet, to be honest.
It's a bit of a learning curve though. Now you've had one big campaign out of the way. I feel like you've learned so much about how difficult it's been for you, but also what you might do a bit differently. And I think what I'm hearing from that is, and everything that we've spoken about today, is that having those sort of strong relationships are really important because you said about jazz helping you sort of get you out the door and helping you get on that stage. Um, and Vicky, how supportive she's been in sort of directing you in terms of like who you can go to set up the label, etc. So it does come really come back to the relationships, but also you mentioned that for yourself, like you have had to just kind of like have a little chat with yourself at points, be like, come on, it needs to be done.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if I feel like some other artists have definitely experienced it, but when you're quite shy and introverted, the most unnatural thing is like putting yourself out for the world to see. But then also, that's all I want. Like, I just want people to hear my music and I want as many people to hear it. So it's a weird, like, internal battle. But I really do think we did everything we could on the album to get it out there. And I'm really proud of that. But something else I've kind of learned is like so much of it isn't up to you. I think you can make the best campaign that you can make and you can be really proud of it. And I really do think you need that little bit of luck and maybe timing um, as well. So I definitely think we had a few moments of that. And also, I think things just take so much time now. Like, who's to say an album you did a year and a half ago won't suddenly find its audience tomorrow? Like, it's just so. I think that's what I struggle with. A lot of it is out of your control now as an
Mhm.
artist.
So if we were going to summarize what it takes to start your own label, I think relationships, being
Hmm.
able to lean on some sort of like close people around you, putting together a team of passionate people, and that kind of ties into relationships a little bit. Maybe thinking about what partners you need on board, so distributor, like what services they can offer, like what you need, like do you want to handle the marketing and social media and creating assets yourself, or do you need the partner to? So maybe, yeah, negotiating what you need up front, being clear on like if you need an advance or no advance. Being ready to be, I guess, more involved as well in the day to day and maybe not just the music side, but a lot more of the sort of business decision making.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe looking after your well-being, trying not to
Yeah.
take on too much.
Yeah. Having thick skin.
But yeah, thank you so much for that, Nina. It's been really, really insightful.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.